Breaking news. Israel ignores criticism over school attack, issues new evacuation order from Gaza. While Israel continued its assault on the enclave, it issued new evacuation orders overnight covering portions of southern Gaza. This was done despite the fact that the international community condemned a destructive hit on a school that had been converted into a shelter. Early on Sunday morning, the Israeli military issued an order to evacuate certain areas of the city of Khan Yunis. These areas included a portion of a humanitarian zone that had been established by the Israeli government, and the army claimed that rockets had been fired from within the zone. A day after an Israeli airstrike on Al-Taban school in Gaza City, which reportedly resulted in the deaths of more than 100 individuals who were sheltering there, the order was issued. Given that the fighting has been going on for 10 months, the current evacuation order encompasses one of the largest areas in the conflict zone. The notice was published on X, and it was also delivered to the residents' mobile devices in the form of text and voice messages. It is imperative that you immediately relocate to the newly established humanitarian zone in order to ensure your own safety. It was written that the region you are currently in is a potentially hazardous conflict zone. Israel launched an attack on Al-Taban school in Gaza City on Saturday, causing more than 100 Palestinians to lose their lives and dozens more to sustain injuries, according to the Palestinian Civil Defense in Gaza. This school, which is the 9th school that Israel has attacked in recent weeks, was being used as a sanctuary by Palestinians who had been forced to flee their homes as a result of the fighting and destruction that has occurred throughout Gaza. After speaking with Al Jazeera, the head of Gaza's government media office stated that the Israeli army carried out the attack with 3 bombs, each of which weighed 2,000 pounds, 907 kilograms. He declared that Israel was aware of the fact that there were persons who had been displaced taking refuge within the school. A command and control center that served as a hideout for Palestinian group Hamas terrorists and commanders was reportedly destroyed by Israeli air forces, according to the Israeli military. There has been significant condemnation of the strike that took place on overnight. Tor Wensland, who serves as the United Nations Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process, included himself in the chorus. In the midst of terror, displacement, and unending suffering, civilians continue to bear the brunt of this conflict on a daily basis. The number of lives lost as a result of this war is becoming more and more apparent with each passing day. We have witnessed yet another devastating strike on a school that was sheltering thousands of Palestinians who had been displaced, with dozens of fatalities, he stated in a statement during the conflict. The statement concluded by stating that an end to this nightmare is long overdue. This remark made reference to the ongoing efforts that are being made to negotiate a ceasefire agreement. During the night, tens of thousands of people fled their houses and shelters, traveling in the direction of Al-Mawasi to the west and Deir el-Bala to the north. Both of these locations were already congested with hundreds of thousands of people who had been displaced. Since the beginning of the conflict in Gaza in October, Maha Frey reported to Al Jazeera that this was the 9th time she had been forced to relocate. It has only been a week since I returned home to begin the process of rebuilding it. It is quite unlikely that I will ever be able to locate my home again, she stated. The shame and agony that we are experiencing is completely unjustified and horrible. Where should we go? We are at a loss. In the entirety of the Gaza Strip, there is not a single secure location. Anyone who has the audacity to assert that there is a safe zone is a liar. Another Palestinian who had been moved, Hani al-Fajim, stated that this was the 3rd time he had been displaced in a short period of time, and the 6th time he had been displaced since the beginning of the war. When we were suddenly told to leave again, we had just returned home for 5 days, he added. We had just made it back home. According to the United Nations, the majority of Gaza's resident population of 2.3 million people has been forced to flee their homes, and the beleaguered territory has been reduced to a significant amount of rubble. There are no safe places in the Gaza Strip, according to authorities from both the United Nations and the Palestinian Authority. This is due to the fact that Israeli troops have bombarded areas that were previously classified as humanitarian zones multiple times. Following the strike that Hamas carried out in southern Israel on October 7th, Israel began its assault on Gaza. The onslaught resulted in the deaths of over 1,200 individuals and the capture of approximately 250 more. It is estimated that approximately 40,000 Palestinians have been slain, and it is thought that a great number of others are buried beneath the debris of the devastated enclave.